What up, guys? Your boy Quake, and let's go over what's happened with Pooh Shiesty and Gucci Mane and the whole robbery situation. I'm going to get into how this even started from the jump, and then all the details that's surrounding it, all the documents the DOJ released, and what we can expect moving forward. This whole story of Pooh Shiesty allegedly robbing Gucci Mane for, all that he's got in his studio, as well as trying to get out of his contract, has been rumored for a while now. This is nothing new in terms of rumors, but there was no official facts. Nobody was officially arrested. Nobody really said anything. It was just some blogs reporting that this potentially probably happened. And now we got official confirmation from the actual FBI, and Pooh Shiesty, his father, and a few other people around him have been arrested. On April 1st, ironically, on April Fool's Day, it was revealed that Pooh Shiesty, his father, and a few other people have been arrested by the FBI and that their house had been raided by the FBI. And after that, there really wasn't much talk. People were like, okay, what's going on? And then the following day, on April 2nd, is when we started to get details, when the DOJ, the FBI started releasing documents, paperwork, photos, revealing that Pooh Shiesty had gone to Gucci Mane's studio, robbed him, the people around him, and threatened Gucci and said, hey, get us out of this contract, sign these papers, and let's move forward. So I've broken down basically all the stuff that the DOJ documents have said, and this is the timeline of things. Pooh Shiesty was released in October of 2025, and by January 10th, 2026, he already got involved in something that sent him right back to jail. And on that date is when he arrived in Gucci Mane's studio and did what he did. So let's go over each detail. The report on the document says when Gucci Mane and his team arrived at the studio, Pooh asked to speak with Gucci privately in a separate recording room. Pooh then produced a contract release form and demanded that Gucci sign it. When Guap refused, an argument ensued. Pooh then told Big 30 to grab a bag from which Pooh retrieved an AK-style rifle and pointed it at Gucci, prompting Gucci to comply. One of Pooh Shiesty's co-conspirators pulled out a cell phone and recorded Gucci signing the release form at gunpoint while being forced to say he released Pooh from his contract. Afterward, Pooh robbed Gucci Mane of his wedding ring, watch, earrings, and cash. Members of Gucci's crew were blocked from leaving the studio. They were in and robbed of their valuables, which included a 1017 necklace. A man identified as MM was choked to the point of nearly losing consciousness during the robbery. At one point, Gucci Mane was pushed onto a couch, causing the victims to believe they were going to be executed. Pooh pointed the barrel of the gun at the back of the man identified as BP's head and ordered Gucci and crew to leave. Gucci Mane and other victims identified Pooh Shiesty and Big 30 to the authorities, with Pooh being described as wearing a black Nike brand Shiesty mask during the robbery. Pooh Shiesty and his co-defendants are facing up to life in prison if found guilty. So that's the gist of it, right? They went in there, blocked the entrances and stuff, and said, hey, Gucci, we want out of this contract. And Gucci said, no, it's not going to happen. Well, then they forced it with the guns. And what's crazy about this is Hernandez Govan was talking to academics, and he said that he basically saw the video footage of it, what happened. Gucci said to Pooh Shiesty, you still got to go through the lawyers, right, even after I sign this. He's basically telling Pooh Shiesty, like, this is not going to help you get out of the contract because we still got to discuss with lawyers about you leaving. And Pooh Shiesty didn't care. And allegedly, Hernandez says Pooh Shiesty responded to that saying basically, shut your bitch ass up and sign. And the craziest thing out of all this is that Pooh Shiesty did this with an ankle monitor on him. So they tracked exactly where he's at, and they got all the details. This is probably the dumbest thing you can do because this is 2026, not the 1990s where Suge Knight was dangling Vanilla Ice off a balcony. You can't force anybody to release you out of a contract. One, recording it is a dumb thing because signing a contract under duress, which that is a situation under duress, doesn't validate the signature at all. That's the first thing. The second thing is Gucci could have just signed, a bad signature and said, that's not my signature. That's the second thing. The third thing is they probably were betting on Gucci Mane not saying anything and just allowing it to happen. But it looks like Gucci has cooperated with the feds. And a lot of people have been having mixed feelings about that because, Gucci is a street guy himself, has done a lot of things in the streets, and even, killed one of Jeezy's guy that went to go and rob him. So Gucci's had a history of doing street stuff. So for him to cooperate with the feds obviously is looked at bad, in terms of who he is as a person. But people are saying it was an off-duty police officer that was there, and that off-duty police officer had to report what happened because he's still, under oath on the law despite being off duty. Now, we got to remember as well, other people were injured in this situation. Gucci Mane's camera guy had some injuries towards his neck and his wrist, and there's photos of that out there. Now, here are the documents that the DOJ released where it says that Gucci Mane actually cooperated. It says RD is Radrick Davis, who's actually Gucci Mane's real name, describes Williams Jr. as wearing a black Nike brand Shiesty mask, black hooded, black pants during their offense. So they're saying that Gucci himself described the person. BP, and RD, Radrick Davis, who's Gucci, all identified Wright, a well-known hip-hop artist, as Big 30 at present during the offense. And RD identified his Instagram page account as CEO Big 30, which is one of Pooh Shiesty's guys as well. So that's what the documents say. I'm sure the video footage is going to come out any moment now of the robbery actually happening. And the interesting thing about all this is that Gucci really did the smart thing. As much as people want to criticize him because he's a street guy, he shouldn't be snitching, he's at a different level in his life. For him to get revenge or to do anything that would risk his freedom and everything that he's got going on right now in his life, which is amazing. He's got a great record label. He's got a wife, kids, successful. He's free. He's a changed person. Anybody criticizing Gucci Mane and telling him to go towards more of a street route is stupid. And Pooh Shiesty's stupid as well, because doing all that with the ankle monitor just being released and you having a hit record and doing well, it's like you just want to go back to prison. It's like you just love that place for whatever reason. It's the dumbest decision that you could possibly make. If you signed a bad contract with Gucci and Gucci's not letting you out, fulfill that contract. It is what it is. You signed it. As a man, when you sign documents, you have to live up to your end, whether you like the terms or not. I've signed a bad contract in my life, and I had to live it out for those 3 years that I was signed to it. It is what it is. Stuff like that happens. And to try to force your way out of that situation, it just shows that you're not a man of your word. But what can I expect from Pooh Shiesty? This guy just loves going to prison for whatever reason. With that being said, Pooh Shiesty is out of here. He's going to get a lot of time for this because there's clear evidence he did this. All the people surrounding are going to get a lot of time as well, and it's over for him. Any type of freedom that he had, any type of momentum musically that he had, it's done. This guy's not going to see the light of day for 20, 30, potentially life in prison because he just got out off doing the same type of thing. So he's already lived his lyrics. So when people say, because I saw this online, people were saying, oh, you guys like your gangster rappers to live their lyrics. Well, he already did that. He already robbed and shot at people and did all this. He's already proved that lyrics that he's done. So when he got out, he should have just kept it clean, man. And if you don't like the contract, just deal with it at that time. Do your music, drop your music, and move on. So one thing I want to say is shout out to Gucci for not falling for this trap, for not trying to retaliate. A lot of people are clowning him online for not doing anything, but hey, he doesn't have to, man. Doesn't have to at all. He's already proven himself in the history books of doing as gangsta stuff as you could ever do, which is kill somebody. At that point, there's nothing more gangsta than that. If you want to look at the gangsta image, which is overall just stupid in general, but Gucci did he's already had his history. He's already legend in a lot of people's eyes. So him trying to retaliate at the age of 40, 50 years old, very dumb. It would trick him out of his position and makes no sense. And shout out to Seti Nash. He says he saw the footage and apparently Gucci was looking at Pooh Shiesty's dad in disappointment. Like, why would you allow your son to do this? And really in that situation, as a father, you should still be able to control your son and tell him, hey, this is not the route to do things, despite your son making a lot of money, despite your son being famous. But this is the problem is when somebody young gets rich and famous, they think they are more authoritative than their parents. Their parents should always be the ones that could be able to say, hey, don't do this. And they should listen. But so it looks like the father was the one that didn't have a gun, according to Seti as well. He said that the father had no gun, so he's probably the one that's going to get the less sentence. He's probably going to skate from this a lot more, but he was still in the whole involvement despite not having a gun, despite being against it. So he's going to face some time. He should have just, maybe if there's audio of him saying, hey, to Pooh Shiesty, don't do this, maybe that will help his case. But overall, they're all going to get locked up. Pooh Shiesty's going to probably never get out again because he's been charged with these type of situations multiple times. And the judge is going to be like, you're not learning any lesson out of this. You have freedom, you got money, you got fame, you got hit records. Even when he got out, first day out was a hit record for him. Like, how are you messing this up still? It makes no sense to me. It will never make sense. But I think he just loves prison. I really don't. That's the only explanation I have for this. Any other explanation just makes no sense. But that's the gist of it. We'll see when the video footage comes out. What do you guys think of the situation? I think Gucci Mane played the best route possible that he could in this. That don't retaliate, just let things happen as they happen and let the courts and the law enforcement deal with it, because he's in a whole different position in his life. Pooh Shiesty, he's a moron. Just simple as that. Moron, dumb thing to do. He's already proven his street credibility, all that stuff. He doesn't need to do this again. But yeah, that's my take on it. Let me know what you guys think.